Hey YouTube, welcome to Herbie's Reef. It's been a long time since we posted a video and we're well past time to do an update, but I have to just confess that our tank has not been doing the greatest, and because of that we haven't been super excited to show it off. And then in addition to that, my editor, my beautiful wife, has been really busy. She's started working, and so we have less time for her to edit. And we decided we would just go ahead and make the video, and you guys might have to deal with all my ums and things that she normally edits out, you may have to hear. But either way, we thought we'd give you a quick update of all the things that have been happening. And I'm sure a lot of you can tell already just from looking, if you remember the placement of our corals, that some are missing. And it's unfortunate, but our issues with the high tin and ultimately high aluminum also have really plagued us. And until recently, we haven't been able to find the source. The high tin we found both in our RODI and in our tank, so we thought once we fixed it in the RODI that it would be gone, but that just hasn't been the case. I just recently finally got a result of 0 tin, and that it turned out it wasn't just in the RODI water from that float valve and the old trash cans that we were using, or not old trash cans, but not non-food safe trash cans, but it was also coming from an old Jabo pump that had a metal clip on it. And then I also had a hose clamp that was above the tank that was rusting, and I guess even though it wasn't in the water, water was condensing on it and then dripping back in. So once I removed those two items, the tin was gone, but I still had really high aluminum. And I knew it was probably from my Marine Pure. I bought my Marine Pure on Amazon, which is known, they say that a lot of that is fake Marine Pure. And because of that, it releases even more aluminum than the normal Marine Pure, and my aluminum levels were just crazy. My last ICP test showed aluminum of 160, which is, I think 0 is normal, so 160 is just super high. Even though they don't know that aluminum affects SPS corals, I think it does, because I've seen lots of guys online that have taken out their Marine Pure and their SPS have started doing better, and that's certainly been my experience. As soon as we took it out and really have been hitting the water changes hard, everything's looked a little bit better. So as an update, we ended up losing one of our home wreckers. We still have the original one. You can tell it's just barely grown. It's a little bigger than last video probably, but it's still pretty small. It's encrusted that little bit, but this thing has almost died on me and come back several times. The tip keeps dying and coming back. I think it's doing well now. All the polyps are out. It seems happy again, but it has definitely not grown as well as I would have liked. And then we had that second home wrecker that we purchased, and it was right here. And that one, I've got a teeny tiny piece of it that's still alive. I put it in the frag tank, but it's mostly dead. And I don't think the piece that's alive is going to survive. And then we also lost the jolt. And worst of all, we lost a coral that I never even showed y'all. It's called a crazy train, and it was from Vivid Aquariums, and it makes the home wrecker cheap. The home wrecker and the jolt seem cheap compared to what I paid for that thing. Y'all can look it up on Reef to Reef. It was a beautiful coral. I would have loved to have seen it grow, but it died. So I don't know. Right now I'm taking a break from buying any coral, especially expensive coral, and we're gonna just let these grow, and once things start doing well again, we'll see. But I'm not going to get in a real hurry to buy any more. So going from here, we've also, as you can see around this Pink Floyd, we've got some bryopsis. And it's a really odd form of bryopsis. It looks a lot like hair algae, but it never gets any longer than this. And it definitely, if you look at it really, really close, it's got a fern pattern to it. And so I treated it with fluconazole. But because I wasn't doing water changes with the fluconazole in, all my SPS started looking really lousy. So I kind of bailed out mid-treatment. It was starting to die off. You can kind of see it's got some white tips on it, but it hasn't completely killed it. And so I am still using Vibrant, and that's, I think, is helping kill it, but it's a slow process. I'm going to go ahead and run fluconazole again after I get my tank back in order, but for right now, I'd rather deal with the bryopsis than all my SPS dying off. So as a quick update, this is a new one. That's a woolly mammoth from TSA. And then this is our Palmer Blue Millie. And although it's still really small, it is starting to grow. You can see one extra head coming out the back. and it's pretty well encrusted, that plug. This is our Walt Disney, and it has not been happy since the high aluminum, and I hope it will come back around, but you can see the polyp extension isn't great, especially when the lights are up. Right now this is my peak lighting period, and it extends the polyps at night, but during the day they're not real happy. But it is encrusting, and it does seem to be growing, so I'm hoping it'll survive. And then here's our solar flare. That's one of our Jason Fox ones that has survived, and it's doing pretty well. It's starting to get some new heads on it, and it's definitely growing some, and it's got good polyp extension. It's never really looked bad, but it hasn't grown as fast as we would have liked. And then our Pink Floyd is doing really well. It's encrusting well. Still slower growth than we would expect, but it looks good. This is a tabling acro that we got with that crazy train from Vivid. It was a freebie they threw in, and it's really pretty under the blues. It's not as pretty under the whites like this, but it's really, really pretty on the blues. And then that's our remaining home wrecker. Let's see if I can get my phone to focus. It's starting to kind of color up on the tip, and I'm hoping it's going to go through a growth spurt now that things are doing better. There's our Pink Lemonade. Hardly grown at all, but definitely encrusted. That's that Mega Man we got from Frag House Corals for almost free in the back, and then there's our green Slimer right here. And this thing has grown pretty well, but I thought I was going to lose it. It totally was sliming all the time, and you can see the skin's kind of turned a little bit gray. The polyps are still out, but it definitely has not looked real happy. I thought it was for sure going to die, but since I've found the source of my issues, it seems to be perking back up. And I know they're pretty hardy, so I'm hoping it'll make it. This is our Rainbow Envy from Matt V, and it is starting to finally color up on the polyps, and it's grown a lot, but not, again, none of my acros have grown as fast as what I see other people's grow, so it's doing well for my tank, but it's not doing well overall. And then this one is another TSA one. It's called a Starscream, and it has looked bad from day one. You can see the tip kind of has a dead portion on it, and it keeps growing algae on it, and then it'll kind of, I think it's getting better. Actually, it looks way better right now because the polyps are back out, but it's definitely not colored up or done anything that we would hope for. And let's see, there's the Bubblegum Millie, or oh, that's not a Millie, I'm sorry, it's a Bubblegum Digi. And it hasn't got those yellow tips yet, but it is growing, and it's a pretty color. I think my gel filter makes it look a little bit more orange than it is. It's a lot more pink, and I hope it'll come through and look like a regular bubblegum eventually. Back here is the Jason Fox yellow tips. And then right here is another no-name one that we got from Vivid Aquarium for free, and it is super bright. It's a Tinnius, and we really like it. I'm hoping it'll do well. Then this is the Purple Poison we got for free from Frag House Corals. It's funny, most of my free corals are the ones that seem to be doing well. And then back here, unfortunately, is my Somewhere Over the Rainbow from Worldwide Corals, one of my favorites, and it is totally brown right now. The polyps are not extended. I hope it doesn't die, but it hasn't looked great. And then you can see our wall of Zoas. They're doing pretty well. They don't seem to have been affected at all by any of these issues. These are my AOIs from Worldwide Corals and Utter Chaos. We got these at Magna. I forget what they're called. Rainbow Incinerators, I think. And you can see our bird's nest. We grew this from a nub, and you can see it's tried to STN on the bottom. At first I thought it was just due to shading, but I've since decided it was due to all my other issues because all of my bird's nests and stylos are trying to do this. And then there's that Cold Fusion Monty from Jason Fox. It's looking really good. And then we picked up this Limelight at Worldwide Corals, and above that are some Purple Monsters that we picked up from Magna. And then moving down, this is probably one of the most heartbreaking, is my beautiful large Gonophora has looked like this for probably 3 months now. This is the most it extends. I keep thinking it's going to die, but it doesn't die. This is better than it looked because it wasn't putting any polyps out for a while, and now I don't know if they're polyps or tentacles, but anyways, it didn't have any of them out for a while, and now you can see that it's starting to just put little nubs out. So I hope maybe it'll come back around, but it just hasn't looked great. This is an Alveopora we pulled from another tank, and we had the lighting up a bit high on it, so it bleached, and it just doesn't seem to ever, it's been in, I only have an AI Prime over these, and then the T5s, and they're in a par of maybe 120, and it just doesn't seem to want to get its color back. This one right here is one we picked up at Magna. It's called a Jason Fox Tony the Tiger Gonopora. It's a new release, and it really should have a lot more color than this, but it also hasn't done well. I don't know whether to blame lighting, because at first I had a Radeon over this. I may have had a little bit too intensive lighting on it, or whether it's to do with the tin and same issues we've been facing. I ended up moving almost all my other LPS coral out of this tank because they didn't look good. I think that aluminum really affects the LPS more than the SPS, and so we had all those hammers here and they just weren't looking good. We lost every single one of our torches, which was tragic because we loved some of our torches, but that's just part of the game, I guess. Hopefully we'll have this thing back in order and better than ever soon. I'm going to do a quick update of our nano tank, although this video is getting long, so I'm going to make it really quick. So I'm going to walk over there. That's where we've moved most of our LPS coral to. All right, here's our little nano tank. We've actually moved it out of my daughter's room, and we've got the Radeon that we did have over the LPS in the other tank. We've put on here, but I've got it set pretty low, and we brought it in here where I can keep a better eye on it. We've experimented with so many different things in this tank. We tried seahorses. The seahorses did fine, but it just really wasn't our thing. They kind of got dirty, and the water just was really hard to keep algae free for us, and was probably more than my daughter can keep up with between high school and all the stuff that she's got going. It was just a lot. So we brought it in here, and we're making this our LPS tank. All these candy canes were on the edge of death when I took them and put them in here, and you can see they're coming around. They had totally lost all their tissue on the sides. They had the front, but all the sides had lost the tissue, and now they're coming back around really well. And then we just moved all the hammers and frog spawn that we had left, we moved in here. And we bought a flame angel, hoping she will be a good flame angel and not pick at the corals. And we also have a shrimp goby in here somewhere, and a pistol shrimp. They like to hide most of the day, but anyhow, they're in here somewhere. And you can see these LPS, these hammers just took a hit. They were in the other tank. And they weren't in too high of lighting. I just really believe that aluminum did them in. Look at this one. You can see over here some new areas it's grown, and this is the color it's supposed to be. But it is totally bleached out. And this one bleached out. I think we almost lost it. There's our goby right there. So that's a quick update. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know if you have any suggestions, and we will hopefully make another update sooner next time. Talk to you later.